Thank you. I appreciate that.
We're all set.
Yes. Okay. Well, welcome everyone. And thank you so much for making it a priority to take a look at the concept of will you coach me? And this is what is going to be no longer a luxury. Coaching, I've noticed in how people are interacting, whether that be in our profession or outside of our profession, that for many years it was viewed as a luxury, and it is becoming a necessity. So let's talk a little bit about what that looks like. An overview. So the reason we are having this conversation and this call is particularly millennials, the now and future generations of our business. They have a need and a desire to have open dialogue, to interact with their leadership, to build a relationship. They're also looking for consistent feedback, and they're accustomed to that feedback in the form of likes, loves, shares, and comments via social media. And two major areas that coaching provide is an opportunity for you to understand how to ask questions to evoke open dialogue, which again is important to the now and future generations of our business. We've also discovered through our research is that feedback is very valuable, and the feedback coming in the form of compassionate feedback. Compassionate feedback is given with compassion. It's often supporting someone to reveal a blind spot or sharing with them, these are areas of excellence. These are areas of strength for you. And these are some areas that are opportunity to learn or to develop and grow. One of my dear friends, a top leader in a company, she said, Grace, every time someone goes out to grow their business, two questions I like to ask them is, what did you succeed at and what did you learn? What did you succeed at and what did you learn? So it's not about learning about being a success or a failure. It is about what did you discover in the process that you will be able to use going forward, that will support you to grow your business. So again, right there, that's one way to gain feedback and that's again important to the people, the future generations of our business. So a few areas of opportunity that we have with coaching is to open up the dialogue. How do we open up great dialogue with people? Well, first of all, we learn how to ask strategic questions. Two of the greatest strategic, two words that you can use to form strategic questions. And this I learned actually from an FBI negotiator. The hierarchy of open-ended questions that create open dialogue are a how question. How questions are strategic questions because what they do is they support you and your team member to formulate solutions. It prompts possibility thinking. How could this be accomplished? How could I make this work? How has this worked for me in the past? How are others accomplishing that? You're looking for a solution with the how question. So that is like at the top. Next is the what question. Again, a very action-oriented, strategic question that you can ask to prompt open dialogue. Again, something that our future generations are hungry for. What questions like, what is working? What could be adjusted? What have you done before? What could you do going forward? What has this business done for you and your life? What could it do for others? See, these are all open-ended, open the dialogue questions that you can ask. Which, by the way, I did not even go into what my name is or what we're even doing here. I'm Grace Hao. I'm one of the co-founders of the DSWA, and I'm partnered up here tonight with my mother and business partner. I've been in business with her since I was in Pampers. And those of you who are Aussies and Kiwis that are on the line, nappies. That's what they call them, nappies. I've been in business with her since I was in nappies, Nicki Keohohou. And we're here to serve you and to give you insights that you can apply immediately in your life and in your business. So the reason for sharing some of those questions and really starting our conversation off in this manner is because if we're looking to open up the dialogue, it's important to have an open-ended question. Stifling the dialogue is when we start our questions off with did you, could you, will you, are you, is it, has it. Those are closed-ended questions that often will result in a yes or no response, which again, it just go like this with me. It stifles the interaction. It stifles the creativity. Basically, they're going to say yes, no, maybe, versus the abundance of possibilities with a how or a what question. Open up the dialogue and see how people awaken before your very eyes. And that's something that I've discovered. One of my favorite quotes was written by a gentleman by the name of Carl Gustav. And he said, those who look outside, they dream. Those who look within awaken. And so when you ask someone a strategic, thoughtful, heartfelt question, you will watch them awaken before your eyes. And that's part of the reason we're having this conversation. What coaching is also known for is elevation. Just do that for a moment, like raise your hands up, raise the roof. Elevation. That means, oh, I love it. I love it. Someone over there is raising the roof. Yes, elevation. And so what we're doing is same old, same old. I learned this from a lady. She achieved recently a prestigious recognition, which was travel here to our island community in Hawaii. And she shared with me, she said, don't look back, don't look to the past unless you want to go there. Don't look to the past unless you want to go there. And I thought, how fascinating, how interesting that she would bring forth that comment. And what she meant was the negativity of the past or things that didn't necessarily go according to plan. And we marinate in that versus elevating our thoughts, being personally inspired to think thoughts that serve us well. So one self-coaching question that I like to ask myself, and I believe that this will serve many of you on the line, is how is that thought serving or hindering me? How is that thought serving or hindering me? How is this relationship bringing out the best in me or bringing out the worst in me? Elevation is consistently and persistently looking for what will bring your energy levels up, what will awaken your greatest strengths, what will bring out the best version of you and bring it to the conversation, bring it to your business, bring it to your relationship. So elevation, and with coaching, elevation comes from within. You can, through your questions, create a sphere or an environment that elevates thought. Always the more beautiful answer for the more beautiful question. Always the more beautiful answer for the more beautiful question. So if I'm asking myself, why am I so tired? Why did that happen? Oh, why questions carry judgment. So we in Coach School teach you, let's omit the why questions and let's bring in questions that awaken your greatest strength. So rather than why did that happen, how could I do it differently next time? What adjustments could I make that would support our goal or our vision? So motivation is external, inspiration is internal and often eternal. And that's what we want to support you to discover, how to awaken the genius within the people that you are working with, within the conversations that you're having with people in passing, how to bring out the best and how for you to bring out your best. Pouring from your overflow versus pouring until you're empty. I'm going to repeat that. Elevation, when you are personally elevated, you are pouring from an overflow of enthusiasm, energy, passion for what you do. Versus I've met many people that are pouring until they're empty. And then they're attempting to continue to pour. I want you to just imagine that. I'm attempting to continue to pour. I'm attempting to continue to pour, and I'm pouring on empty. How nourishing is that for the other person receiving on the receiving end of that? It's not very nourishing. When you're pouring from your overflow because you know how to self-coach, you're asking yourself questions that awaken your creative genius, that bring out the best in you, practicing on yourself will make it permanent. So when you're out in the marketplace talking to others, you're practicing the skill. You've become so well versed in it because you're practicing on you, pouring from the overflow. Then you're practicing on the people that you're interacting with. So those are a few thoughts around elevation, and we've seen that. Also, coaching is known for accelerating success and high performance. So I want you to take, and if for those of you who are driving, please do this when you're not in the car. So accelerating success and high performance, that's what coaching is known for. So I want you to take your right foot and I want you to put it all the way to the ground. That will be your reminder. That's you're accelerating, you're putting the pedal to the metal, and that's what coaching is known for. So whenever you go to coach, I want you to see it as an accelerant. You're taking a valued person from where they are to where they prefer to be. A valued person, that's what coaching is. Taking a valued person from where they are to where they prefer to be, and in an accelerated fashion. Now, there's a little thought around this acceleration. For many people, they think, Grace, these coaching calls take a long time. You know, it's so much easier to tell them what to do, and then they just go do it. I mean, that's just so much faster and easier. And I'll share something with you, my friends. You could tell them what to do and how to do it. Each person that's in your organization, when you have an organization the size of 5, maybe 10, when you have an exponentially growing organization of 20, 50, 100, thousands of people in your organization, it becomes an impossibility to tell everyone everything they need to do and to answer every single person's question. See, I've thought this for many years, and we've thought this for many years. When the people are prepared and equipped to handle the masses, the people will appear. When the people are prepared and equipped to welcome the masses, the people will appear. So acceleration, that's what happens with coaching. You have an ability to work with a larger number of people in an efficient and effective manner. You are not telling everyone everything they need to do. You're not constantly training and pouring out. See, if we train and pour out constantly in a one-on-one interaction, I can guarantee you, my friends, that is an opportunity to bring everyone onto the call and have one training call. If there is a gap with one person in your organization, there is likely to be a gap with many. So what happens is that if I'm on a one-on-one call and I go to train this person, and then the next person calls and they have a similar question and I train them. Let's say these are 1-hour calls that you're having. 10 people in a one-on-one training. You just took 10 hours to train on a concept that you could have come on a call and trained on live 1 hour and reached everyone in your organization. So if there is a training gap for one, it is likely expansive and across your organization. Coaching is highly effective. It's a worthwhile investment in a one-on-one or a group setting. And we'll talk more about what that can look like. Training is effective and efficient in a group environment. See, if I came on and I trained all of you that have registered for this call, okay, let's say I did one-on-one training for everyone that registered for this particular experience, and I did it one at a time, I would be training for years the people that registered for this call, versus we are bringing all of us together on one call, and all of you will be impacted. That's leverage. That's efficiency. That is maximizing your moments. So, acceleration. It's known for accelerating success and high performance. Questions, thoughts, or comments? I want to hear from you. Go ahead and unmute your line before we continue.
While you're doing that, Grace, John had a really good point in the chat box. He says, telling doesn't work. Engaging and empowering does. So thank you, John, for that comment.
Yes. Oh my goodness, I love that, John. Telling doesn't work. Engaging the person does. And so imagine this for a second. If they come to you and you train them, imagine what the day would look like if you were telling and training and all the ideas were originating from you for 10 hours straight. The first person gets this version of you. Jazz hands. They get the enthusiastic version of you. Second person, smile, no jazz hands. Third person, fourth person, fifth person, what do you want? You know, if they don't, it's because we are the one coming up with all the ideas. This muscle is working overtime to be creative and have all the ideas. Now, when you ask questions and coach, I want you to do this for me really quickly. Just go, oh my goodness, you're so brilliant. You're so smart. Oh my goodness, genius. Genius over here, genius. That's what people are saying when they come up with their own ideas. So when you're asking the questions and you know how to apply this skill and you can do it with efficiency and effectiveness, what happens is they're saying to themselves, gosh, I can do this. This is my idea. I own it. Versus if we tell them what to do and how to do it, they go out and they make their best attempt and it goes well. Okay, that one worked. I'm coming back for you for more. You ready? Give me all your ideas. Tell me everything you know right now so I can go and apply that. So they become dependent on you. So every question that they have, they come to the question, king or queen. They answer king or queen. Now, the other side of that is let's say they go out and they attempt to activate your idea and it didn't work. It's your fault.
Yeah.
So I want you to think about this for a minute. If they come up with their own response, their own answer, they own it. It empowers them. So the next time they go to call you about a trivial thing that they probably could have answered on their own, what happens is they do one of these numbers. If you practice the art of coaching them, what happens is they pick up the phone, they type in your number. They've got that number in there. And before they hit send, they ask, what would Angie ask me? What would Anita ask me? What would John ask me? Well, this is what they'd ask. Okay, I've got it. And so they're no longer calling you for the trivial things. They're calling you for the major things. They're majoring in the major leagues versus majoring in the minors. And that is, wow. What that does is that frees you up as leaders to work with more people, to elevate the acceleration of leveling up people. So they're asking, will you coach me? Will you coach me? And so there are some important points around this. Sometimes what happens is people resist the coaching because they don't know what it is. They're saying no and they don't know what they're saying no to. Because in the past, in our profession, there wasn't this clarity between what is training and what is coaching. We didn't spell that out or point that out. And so what would happen is we would say, well, I'm going to coach you. Now you've joined my team and I'm going to coach you for eternity. Brace yourself. We're in it for the long haul, honey. And so what's happening is coaching is not an expectation. It's an invitation. That's number one. Number two is it's there's a difference between training and coaching. So in the past in our profession, we'd say, you know, I'm going to coach you. And then we would call up the team member and we would tell them what to do, how to do it, when to get it done. And then we'd say, okay, let me know how it goes tomorrow by 2. And we'd leave the call feeling joy-filled and joyful. And the other person would feel like overwhelmed and I don't know how I'm going to do this. And so I think I'll just avoid her call when she calls me tomorrow at 2, or I just won't respond, or, you know, I'll give it a go. I just don't know how it's going to go. It was training. We were training them and calling it coaching. So this is definitely going to be something of value for you to take a picture of this, or even be able to go back and re-listen to it, to be able to recognize when I am training, I am likely telling. The ideas are likely coming from me. When I'm coaching, I'm likely asking questions, and the ideas are originating from my team member. With training, the ideas are coming from me. It's my agenda. It's what I'd like to cover. With coaching, it's your agenda. It's what you'd like to cover. It's what would bring you value. It's what your goal is. It's what you're currently focused on in your business. So, training versus coaching, being able to communicate the difference. All right? So, few thoughts around this. One is to, if you have invited someone to coach, what's valuable is to ask them, may I share what I've learned so far about coaching? May I share what I've learned so far about coaching and the differences between training and coaching? So what you will often find is that they will appreciate knowing the differences. And number 2, they are more likely to engage with you versus resist it. So there's a few things I want to share with you. What you input, you output. So this call, yes, maybe you thought, okay, I'm going to go on this call. It looks interesting. And you thought you were going to listen to it once. I recently had a woman that we recorded a training call for. She listened to it in a very short period of time, 4 or 5 times, and she said, I'm going to continue to listen to this. She is in the top 10 of a company. I think there are over 2 million people that represent that brand. She said, what I input, I output. She made it a point to go back and re-listen. So that's one thing I'm going to encourage you to do is if you are experiencing this training and you're hearing things that will bring value to you and to those you work with and collaborate with, I encourage you to listen to it more than once. I encourage you to share it with others so they speak the same language and they know the difference between training and coaching. So these are some insights. Who would like to share or has a comment or a question? We would like to hear from you.
Grace, I want to bring one up that John did because I thought it was really good. He said, ask yourself, what is my ask-tell ratio? So what percentage of the time am I asking questions? What percentage of the time am I telling people what they need to do? Good question. Anybody else that wants to speak it out or type it in the box, please do so now.
Yes, what is my ask-tell ratio? I think also what's valuable here as well is so when you're asking and telling, that's one thing. The other thing is if you're asking a question that you already have the answer to, you are likely leading the witness. You're taking somewhere where you think they want to go versus asking because you're curious, asking because you're wondering, asking because you're interested. So there's asking, and then there's asking in a neutral zone. Like I'm asking because I wonder. I'm not asking because I'm looking for a specific answer. Because what will happen is if people feel like you're leading them, they will give you the answers they think you want to hear versus the answers that they will own. And so just take yourself into neutral. I shared this on a call I did last week. I said, take yourself into neutral. For those of you who have ever driven a stick shift. My father taught me how to drive a stick shift at the mortuary. I was like, Dad, did you have alternative thoughts around this? So neutral, take yourself into the neutral zone when you are coaching and
Grace,
see what happens.
I'm sorry, I cut you off there. I had a couple comments that I wanted to add out there, which is, I think were some that were pretty good. Deborah wrote, coaching is seeing others as perfectly capable and whole. We teach people are whole and complete as they are. You don't coach someone because they're broken. And then Dia asked, well, I just deleted all the notes I was taking on my phone. I'm so sorry. So I definitely will be listening again. Thank you, Dia, for your honesty. I'm so happy about that. Okay.
Yes. And so, Deborah, you brought up such a great point. Yes, some people term that homology. Others term it whole and complete. So coaching is not about fixing someone. It is about supporting them, meeting them where they're at, and supporting them to get to where they'd like to be, where they'd prefer to go with their life, with their business. So coaching is about whole and complete. We are not here to fix them. They're not broken. And so when you have somebody that's saying, I'd like to coach you, or you are offering coaching to someone, be clear on what your definition of coaching is. So that's something that we like to teach people when somebody says, well, I'd like to coach you, or I'd like to work with you as a coach. Ask them, what is your definition of coaching? What is your definition of coaching? And if they say, well, we come on a call and then I share with you and teach you and walk with you every step of the way, they are likely looking to mentor you. They're likely looking to train you. They're likely looking to consult you. That is not coaching. And so coaching from our standards, there are two major accrediting bodies within the coaching realm. One is ICF, which is the International Coaching Federation, and the other is WABC, which is the Worldwide Association of Business Coaches. Nikki and I are both accredited through that organization, and the reason we chose that organization is because they hold us to a very high standard of excellence. We must prove hours of coaching. We prove our continuing education. We prove how many people we're coaching and how we're coaching them. So that is important for you to understand, that we're not saying, oh, we're coaches or we're teaching coaching. We actually are educated in the realm of coaching. Maria, you asked such a great question. She said, how do you define the difference between coaching and mentoring? Great question. There is a time and a place for mentoring in our profession. It's very important. It is unique from coaching. Mentorship is showing someone the ropes, teaching them how to be successful at things we were successful at, modeling a best practice, demonstrating how you do things so that they can mimic you as they go out and build their business. Coaching is asking questions, understanding what has worked best for this person in the past. What are their ideas? Mentorship, the idea originates with us. Coaching, the idea originates with our team member. They are leading the conversation. They are the expert. It is their agenda. With mentorship, it's often, this is what I plan to share with you. These are the ideas that I'd like to discuss and cover so that we can grow your business exponentially.
Thank you.
So those are some distinctions. Maria, did that answer your question?
Yes, because I often get a little, mixed up. Should I ask to be coached? Should I ask to be mentored? Is it the same thing? Or on the other hand, when I'm offering that to my consultants, I kind of think, how do you define between the both? So that helped. Thank you.
Wonderful. Maria, thank you so much for the question. Especially now, you will be able to model this as a best practice. You will be able to model the distinction so that generations of your organization will do the same.
Good. Thank you. I will keep that. I'll listen to you again. So thank you.
Thank you. Wonderful. So we're going to, Nikki, are you keeping track of our time here?
Yes,
I want to
we've
make sure.
got about 30 minutes.
Okay.
Or if we're going 45, you've got 15 to wrap
Okay,
up.
good. All right. So I would like to hear from you. What other questions do you have?
You can type it in the box, or you can unmute yourself. At the bottom left-hand side of your screen, there's a mute button, and just click on it and it'll unmute you.
Hi, Grace. It's Deborah. How are you?
Lovely, Deborah. How are you, my friend?
I'm awesome. I'd love to dive a little deeper into mentoring. And I understand mentoring to be not only coming from our own rich experiences, it's also being able to draw upon other people's experiences in third-party edification and quoting and stories. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. Third-party edification, absolutely. So mentorship comes in a variety of forms. We can mentor and we can access mentorship, whether that be through books, audio programs, videos, people that are alive or people that have passed. So mentorship sometimes comes in a variety of forms. The key, though, is to access. Who would you like? See, a great mentor is one that you aspire to walk in that same path.
That's a great point.
Aspiration to duplicate and replicate that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah. That's a wonderful question. Anyone else with a question or a comment?
You got a plus with a great answer. Thank you, Maria. And I'm going to type in a couple more things around mentorship so that you understand. In the coach schools, we teach that difference between counseling, mentoring, consulting, cheerleading, and all the rest. So we don't have time to go into all that, but you at least get that they're different. So you don't go to say you're going to coach someone when really what you're going to do is try to be their mentor for that moment.
Exactly. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, great question. So coaching principles, when you apply coaching principles, what people will do is almost that their body language will open up. They will be receptive to the coaching interactions. Now, I want to keep you in tune to the fact that in the beginning, some of your conversations are going to be longer. That's what I've recognized with some of the people that we've taught coach school to. They've shared with us, Grace, when I first started coaching, the conversations were a bit long. It felt like, I didn't know if I could do that for extended periods of time. What's happening is in the beginning, when you're first applying these strategies, you're going to find that you're getting accustomed to the process, and so is your team member. You're practicing to make permanent, and so is your team member. So the conversations may be longer. I encourage you, though, to have briefer coaching conversations. What I mean by that is when you go to learn more about this philosophy, keep it to 30 minutes at the most. The longer the call, the more action steps they likely have, the less, it's almost like the longer the call, we're stretching them thin. Whereas when we have a shorter, briefer, what I call snappy call, we're setting them up for success so that when they get off the phone, they have 2 to 3 action items that they can take and move forward with, versus 30 things to do, and then they feel overwhelmed. They're like, I can't talk to you for a month. Let me get to all these things that we came up with. So I encourage you, especially when you're first starting this, give yourself and that person the opportunity to have a briefer conversation. And that's what a top leader shared with us. She said, Grace, I started out with an hour. I moved to 45 minutes, 30 minutes. She said, I'm now able to have, because my team member and I are so efficient in our coaching, I'm able to have 10 to 15 minute coaching interactions. So she's gone from investing hours of one-on-one calls to fast, efficient, and effective, impactful interactions. So those are thoughts to consider. The coaching principles, let's talk first service. So what you're doing is you're saying, this is about you. I am here to add value to you, your life, and your business. It is not about what I'm going to get out of it. It's about how this interaction will make an impact on you and your goal, you and your vision. So I want to encourage you to think about, how can I meet this person where they're at? How can I bring value to them and their business? How can I model coaching as a leadership best practice? So these are self-coaching questions that you can use in preparation with any interaction that you have. You can even ask this before you go to meet with one of your clients and customers. How can I add value to this person? How can I communicate in a way that they know the relationship comes first? How can I make this a transformational experience? Focusing on the transformation, and then the transaction will come. The key though is focusing on the transforming. How can I impact this person? So I want you to think about that when you're serving your clients, when you're interacting with them, and also when you're speaking to your team members. Again, how can this interaction bring value to this person? Trust. People will not want to coach. They may resist coaching if they feel that what they're sharing could be shared with the team, could be shared with others, could be posted on Facebook. So when you're coaching, be a vault. Be trustworthy to hold on to what is being communicated and keep it to yourself. Now, if there's something that was a great example, ask permission. May I share this? This was such a great example. May I share this as a not naming names with an up-and-coming training, or on a Zoom that we're going to be conducting, or keep it to yourself. So be trustworthy to keep their confidence. Whatever they share with you is between the two of you. And we do a lot of work with organizations and actually major banks here in the islands. And what often is a concern is that if I share this with you, are you going to tell my boss? Are you going to share this information with someone else? Well, no. This is between you and I, unless you choose to share it. So that, I think, is very important. Also, authenticity. It's you being your best self. So when you're going back and you're asking people, would you consider being coached by me? When you're asking that, I would like to practice the art of coaching. I would like to practice the skill that I've learned a bit about through the DSWA. May I do that? Versus, oh my goodness, I had this 1 hour webinar and I am now an expert on coaching. I've got it all down. Service, trust, authenticity, integrity, and respect. I've got all the principles down. Now I'm ready. I'm a professional. So that is not being authentic. Being authentic is, I've learned some things about coaching and I'd like to be able to practice that with you. Or I'd like to be able to learn this skill along with you. I think that it could be valuable to our business and to our relationships, to our organization, to our future generations. So be authentic, be yourself. We're so much better at being ourselves. I'm so much better at being Grace. I'm not very good at being Nikki. I admire my mother. She's my mentor. I've worked with her for many years. I'm just not that good at being her. So much better at being Grace. And that's what I'm going to ask of you. Be yourself when you're coaching. Bring your best to the conversation, and your best is you. It's not about someone else. This came up recently. I had a woman, and I feel compelled to share it with you now. Had a woman contact us, and she had a question around her grandson giving up before he was in a swim race, and he gave up before he finished the race. And she said, Grace, it was almost as if he was beating himself. He wasn't competing against the people in the other lanes. He was competing against himself, and he gave up his race. And so what I want to share with you right now, and I'm going to go back to this slide because this is pretty much what it's about. When I picked up the phone and I called this woman to speak with her about this question she had about her young grandson, what I shared with her is I said, it reminds me of Michael Phelps, and how when the Olympics was on, a brilliant photographer captured a moment, a picture of Michael Phelps with his head down in the water. And the gentleman who was just behind him in the next lane over, the photo was Michael Phelps with his head down, and the person right behind him was looking at Michael Phelps. And what I shared with this lady on the phone is I said, the caption read, "Winners focus on their goal. Losers focus on the winner." Winners focus on their goal. Losers focus on the winner. So what I'm asking of you is to be your authentic best self, not to look at your company's lineup of who's best and what rank they're in. Focus on your lane. Focus on your vision for what you're looking to accomplish. Focus on being the best you can be, and not comparing yourself to other people. Because my friends, in swimming, they taught us this. When you look in the other lane or you're concentrating on someone else, you automatically slow down. You automatically slow down. So focus on your vision and what you're good at and what you're looking to refine and to improve upon, versus focusing on someone else's game and what they're doing or not doing. Comparison eats people for lunch. Comparison eats people for lunch versus how can I be my best self today? How can I stretch beyond what was my maximum yesterday? How can I go a little bit further than I went yesterday? How can I expand my comfort zone? How can I stretch my thinking? How can I call that person that I felt uncomfortable about calling? How can I do that today? See, because every day, if you do that daily, what happens is our comfort zone when we start that exercise could be like this, here. As we do this daily, what happens is we become comfortable with the uncomfortable, and become comfortable with the uncomfortable until our comfort zone is so beyond that we wouldn't even recognize ourselves at that stage. We didn't stretch to break. We stretched to grow. Stretching to grow. And I wanted to share that with you because that's a way to awaken your authentic self and awaken the giant within you. Awaken that version of you. Let that one out. And it's through stretching to grow versus stretching to break. And I even like to ask people I'm coaching, I like to ask them that. What would be a stretch to grow you between now and the next time we speak? What would be a stretch to grow you? And notice, I am not saying, okay, well, the stretch to grow you is this. I'm not saying that. I'm asking. Yeah.
So Grace, we had a comment here from Deborah it's Rose, ROSE, rate of self-evolution. It's a very good thought. We've got about 15 minutes, Grace, so we're going to wrap it up here.
Okay. I'm going to share with you respect. So again, briefly, respect where that person is at. Their goal in coaching, their goal is their goal. We may see them beyond that goal that they're setting. And right now, when we're coaching someone, it's not our judgment doesn't come in to account. Our belief comes into account. And so one way to respect someone that you're collaborating and coaching with is to remember this phrase. Ralph Waldo Emerson said it. He said, "See them great, and they will show themselves great unto you." See them great, and they will show themselves great unto you. So respect where they're at and respect what they're working through so that it's almost like they can, that whole concept, the rate of self-evolution, they can evolve to who they were designed to be and to fulfill the gifts that were given to them. All right, so we're probably not going to go into detail on all of these skills at this stage. What I do want to do, though, is this is your call. This is something that we wanted to provide and add value to all of you. So I want to hear questions or comments that you have based on what you've experienced today, what you've gleaned and gained from our time together. Questions or comments?
And Grace, while they're writing, we may be able to just give a couple of little thoughts around each one of these skills, and then we'll wrap it up. But did someone else have a comment?
And you're welcome to unmute your line and come on so we can hear you, or you're welcome to type it in to the group chat, whatever works best for you.
We've had great participation in the group chat, which was good. And here Beverly says, a great reminder of the difference between training and coaching. I'm so glad that you got that, because people use those words interchangeably and they're two very different skills. Thank you, Bev.
Yes, thank you so much.
Something this is Maria, something that I caught me an aha moment here was reading, I don't know who put it on there, but information does not create transformation. And we get caught up in feeding a lot of information for doing the work, but so I'm guilty of that, but so putting that into words is like, aha.
Good for you. Thank you. We had another one here from Dia. She says, wow, what a revelation. 18 years in this profession and I never understood the difference, which is a very common thing. So yes. My mentors definitely didn't know either. So thank you, Dia, for that comment. Barbara, I practice coaching even when, oh, I'm so happy, Barbara. I practice coaching even when I'm just meeting someone to discover what they want more of in their life. It starts from the beginning. You're absolutely right. It's just a way of living. And Dia says, I realize now that I'm an excellent trainer and a crappy coach. Well, I wouldn't say crappy. You're a new coach, or coach in the making. And Donna says, love the coaching principles. Stare, very informative to pass along. And then Naomi, I'm so sorry, Miss Morales, it says, I dream of being an extraordinary coach. So I would like to take your school, but even when I understand English, I don't speak it at all. Please don't open the microphone for me. I'm in Texas and I would like to get certified. I have taken a workshop with Benny Salazar. Good for you. He's one of our Spanish instructors, and it is what helped me move forward. I'm a director in my business. Thank you so much. And I'm going to say to everybody, all our courses are available in English and Spanish. So don't let that be a reason to hold you back. And Dia says, yes, new and better. That's right. Good thinking. And from Tiana, I'm always using your tips with my children. That's exactly what happens. People get just as much out of these courses for their family as they do their business. So thank you. So Grace, those are our questions. Let's move on and wrap her up.
Yes. So again, always the more beautiful answer for the more beautiful question. And asking questions because you're interested, because you're curious. Heart-centered listening, quick tip around heart-centered listening is to be present. To be present, to seek to understand this person, to gain knowledge, to hear from them beyond the words they're using, to their feelings, how they're feeling in this moment. Compassionate feedback. This is a skill that we all can develop. And again, the future generations are going to call us to coach with compassionate feedback. And that's very unique from constructive, let me build you up, and then criticize you, drop you on your face. Constructive criticism or compassionate feedback. Compassionate feedback is given with compassion and with permission, and there's an entire process behind that we've been teaching in our business for many years, and we'd love to be able to share it with you. Agreed action and accountability. This is so we can address what is this person going to activate and how will they be held accountable to that. See, sometimes what happens is we get on the phone with people and we're thinking, is anything going to happen as a result of that conversation? Will anything take place? I was just on the call for an hour, wonder if anything's going to happen. Well, that's because it's likely that we haven't had agreed action and accountability. And without that, it's almost like we're having a chitty chat that we wonder, is anything going to take place? Versus they're clear on what they're going to activate and how they are either going to hold themselves accountable or be held accountable to the activity. And I see you acknowledgement is the fifth skill. And that is, I see you, I see who you are beyond what you've done. And separating their character from their behavior. So we're talking about who they are in this moment. And that leaves a lasting and lingering impression. And we will share with you more on how to accomplish that. Key thing is to take action. See, knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is powerful. So the key is to begin applying and taking action on some of these ideas. So there are two thoughts that I wanted to share with you and two options that we're making available through the Coach Excellence School. One is Nikki and I are actually going to be doing a live Coach School webinar series like this. This is the one and only time we will do a series virtually. People from all over the world can plug into and access and have interaction like this. I mean, we're on the call just like you are right now in the moment. Live Coach School webinar series that's going to be starting at the end of this month. So anyone from anywhere in the world can tune into this. It will be 9 specific calls. You will want to register in a timely fashion because we are going to mail you anywhere in the world your coaching curriculum so that you can come on the line and be with us live for 5 consecutive weeks on this type of tool where you're seeing us, you're hearing us, you're interacting with us, and you're going through Coach School in a virtual manner. The other option and alternative is for you to attend a Coach School that's coming to an area near you. So how do you learn about these? You go to dswa.org/events so that you can access some of the schools that we have coming up. Again, that page will take you to see what we have with regards to this live webinar series and the upcoming in-person schools that you can access. Now, because you came on the call or because someone shared about this call with you, maybe they're going to send this link and you're watching this, first-time attendees to any Coach School, whether that be a live or whether that be the webinar series, you get $150 off. And your promo code that is good through this Monday, October 7th, is Coach150. So Coach150 will give you $150 off your registration. And that is one of the best deals that we've had ever. The other is for returning students. And this is for the webinar series, or this is for a live school. The returning students, those of you who have already attended a Coach School and you would like to plug in to this webinar series or you'd like to attend another school, you get 50% off using promo code RETURNING. Returning promo code will give you 50% off so you can come online and listen to the webinar series and experience Coaching School over a period of time, or you can come live and get it for 2 days straight. It depends on what works best for you, or you could even have a combination of the two. So those are some of what we wanted to make available to all of you. We've been hearing it for many years, that the message is meant for the many and not the few. And there are many people that just don't know how to get to a school or where to go, or they don't want to wait so long. They want it now so that they can use it. Well, now's your opportunity. So very excited to welcome all of you to plug into this. Any final questions or thoughts or comments about what you heard tonight, or even what we've just shared with you with regards to how you can plug in?
Let's see if we have some comments in the box here, Grace. I just want to make sure that everybody realizes it's the first time we've ever given that kind of a discount, and we're doing it for everybody that's on this call. It's also the first time we've ever done an online Coach School. And we truly believe that the combination is important, that you get the live at some point. And so those of you that have already been to a live, what's really good by doing it this way is you're having a good refresher and new ideas, because every school is different. And many of you have attended multiple schools. Some people come 4 and 5 times because they just really want to keep getting better, because you get feedback, and that's what helps you to get better. So we have people that come and attend multiple times, and every school is different because the people are different, the interactions are different, the time is different, and what we are learning and growing into is also different. So just take a look, go look at the events page. You'll see both the online course that's going to take place, and that's a one-time deal. We're doing that. And then you will also see the other live events. And we also have some private events for companies, or if specific companies host them, or specific leaders host them. If you need to know anything about that, you can write to, and I'll type it in the box. Marianne at dswa.org is the program director, and she'll be happy to let you know about any private schools for your specific company. But it's always good to come to an open school too, because you hear other people and get other ideas and how they do things. So any other comments? You can say you'd like to ask a question out loud. I've got here Bev. I love you, Bev. She says, I attended a coaching school with the amazing Nikki in sunny Melbourne, Australia. I gained so much from it and regularly reread my notes. Highly recommend it. Thank you so much, Bev. And Bev is an executive with a company, and she brought other people from her company in the field have attended the school too, and the owners of her company are very much behind what we're doing because of the results. That's the thing. You can invest or you can spend. You invest in something, there's a return on investment. When you spend money on something and there's no ROI in it, you wasted money. And in all these years, we've never had anybody say that was a waste of money. Everybody said that was the best thing I've ever done, or something along those lines. And it's not because it's Grace or I or any of our certified trainers. It's because of the material. We know it works, and we have analytics to prove it. So if you'd like to know more information, you can write to Marianne at dswa.org. And I know that she will get to us if you need to speak with us about something, or if you have questions about a particular school. Many of those schools, we have payment plans to get the $150 off. It's a school paid in full. It has to be paid in full, and you can't combine two promo codes. So thank you for being awesome and doing this call. I appreciate you. Thank you, Barbara. We enjoyed having you back with us. Barbara's gone all the way through the system, and here you are again. That's exciting. And Donna, thank you. So thank you to everyone. And if you want to stay on for a few minutes, we're happy to answer any other questions that you might have, either about the upcoming schools or about the webinar tonight. We want to make sure that you have value from your time you invested today. That's very important to us. So anybody else with questions, comments before we close the program? Wonderful training. How do I get the replay? The replay is going to come to you from DSWA in an email because you showed up on this call. So it will be sent to you within probably a day or two, probably tomorrow, but could be on Monday. But you will get it, and please listen again. That's why coaching is not a one-time thing. Coaching is something that takes multiple exposures in different ways. That's why, when you go to the site, you see a lot of tools to support you in developing your coaching, whether that's the Build a Big Book of the coaching chapter or self-coaching CD, whatever it is. We bring it from multiple directions because it is not something people get in one time. So thank you, Anita. We loved having you here too. So I'm so excited to listen again. Thank you, Deborah and Kathy. Wonderful information and takeaways. That's the thing that you got to look at when you put your time into something, the value for the return on your time. If you take one concept that you learned tonight and put it into place and put it into your life, talking with your children, remembering to acknowledge your children, your partner, thank you. Not just thanks for taking out the garbage, you forgot to do this. It is, thank you for being responsible. Thank you for knowing I can depend on you. You're a responsible, dependable person. Or you have a servant's heart. I don't know what it is, but find something to acknowledge people. It's one of the greatest gifts that you can give. Anybody else, comments, thoughts, questions out loud or in writing? Either is okay. They're all still here. Hey,
I think what's important also is that when we focus on practicing, so even if it's, I'm going to focus on practicing asking questions, or I'm going to focus on practicing listening. So taking one thing that you've gleaned and asking yourself, how could I activate this? Who could I practice this with? How could I enrich my relationships with these skills? Who could benefit from hearing what I heard tonight that doesn't even know that this exists? I can't share with you how many people, and there may be people on this line. I had a recent coach school, and this one person said to me, Grace, I heard about this school 12 years ago. And she started crying. She's in the class, and she started crying. She goes, I heard about it 12 years ago. And I kept thinking, I've heard it all. I've been to everything. I know so much about this business. We're good. She came to the class, and then what she started doing is she started beating herself up. I wish I would have listened. I had this, somebody told me about this 12 years ago. And please quiet that voice and say, remind yourself, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And when the teacher is ready, the students will appear. See, what you may have learned 10 years ago from our coach school, 12 years ago from our coach school, we too didn't know then what we know now. We've been learning and evolving too. So what happens at each coach school is unique because you make it unique. Your questions make it unique. The key though is that I have been prepared for a time such as this. And so less focus on what you did do or what you didn't do, and more focus on, I am here now. I am here now. This message was prepared for me for right now. I am in the right place at the right time with the right people doing the right things. So remember that. I wanted to share that with people that may have that inner dialogue happening. And I want to just say, let's quiet that voice, because that voice is life-taking. Give yourself new words, new life, and bring that to the forefront, and then make that repetitive so that you live that out.
Grace, one other thing Barbara mentioned, and I thought this was important, and this is really timely here. The other thing I first heard from you is to celebrate the wins, even the small ones, baby steps, baby wins, because sometimes we wait till we get to the very end and we had all those months go by and we didn't celebrate and we're tired. So she said, I hope everyone on the call will celebrate the gift of being here for yourself tonight. You did something for you. Very good point. And then I had Doris wrote, who's attended the school and is very active in the DSWA, and in fact is on the board as a field member, a person from the field we have on our board, so we get that perspective too. She said, so wonderful to hear the amazing Grace and Nikki tonight. Coach Excellent School changed my life. So proud to be part of the DSWA. Thank you, Doris. And Dia says, I am here now. Good for you. And this also came from Ms. Morales. Yes, I am here now. Very good. Shifting of that inner critic to be someone that empowers you. Or via Maui, as Ram Das says, be here now. Very, very good. Thank you so much, everyone. And just know that whether you come to a school or not, that you are part of our family, you understand what we're about. We hope that you will share this with people that do know so that they have the opportunity to grow. And I'm going to tell you that the side piece of this is what it does for you and your family. It is not just you. So it's not taking from your family, it's contributing to your family. And that is what we hear over and over again. So anyone else have a comment before we take off? We loved having you here and hope that you take advantage of these discounts. First time person, 150 off until 11:59 p.m. I think it's Eastern time on October the 7th. And then if you're a returning student, always know you can come back. And by the way, this will stay the same. So if you come to a live school in the next 6 months, you can always come back and do an online school. if we continue with that program, it'd be a little different, but you can come back and use that or go to another live school at that 50% off discount. People come multiple times. Here is just blessings for both of you and all of this community. Thank you. We feel blessed, and the people we know add to our lives every day. So thanks, everyone. Grace, do you have any closing comments?
I want to thank you for making it a point to make this a permanent way to communicate and connect with others. See, coaching can be used in so many forms and fashions. The skills themselves can be used as you interact with other people, as you engage in conversation, as you invite them to do business with you, as you invite them to become a part of your team. The greatest coaches are the ones that are practicing on themselves first, and then bringing that out and practicing with others as well. So practice on you. Give yourself the gift of coaching and watch how that impacts how you show up. It'll be very evident. You can see when somebody is skilled at self-coaching because they can bounce forward faster. They are less distracted and detoured. They are less in the muck, and they're more in momentum because they know how to apply this on themselves. They are an ally to self versus an enemy. So I'll leave you with this thought to consider and to continue to ponder. And it's an African proverb. And it states, when there is no enemy within, the enemies outside cannot harm you. When there is no enemy within, the enemies outside cannot harm you. So be your best ally. Practice on you. So thank you. Thank you for sharing this message with other people that you know that could benefit from it. Thank you for investing your time and your treasure to be here and to plug into these schools. And we look forward to hearing your success stories and being a part of your journey. Blessings to each and every one of you. Thank you so much. Until next time.